I recently spoke with two separate people who told me about how as a child they were not able to go on field trips. This made me both sad and grateful because my mom was always willing to pay money that honestly she really didn't even have for me to have the opportunity to go on a field trip, to see a world outside of my small town. The conversation came up with one of the people because I was telling them that I was just at a parent meeting for a field trip that my daughter is about to go on in the near future. And she asked kind of shocked, "You're going to let her go?" And I said, "Of course. Why wouldn't I?" I can remember so vividly the memories that were made on my school trips. We went to places like the Fox Theater to see shows. That's where I saw Les Miserables and the Phantom of the Opera. We rode on a bus for an hour to visit the High Museum of Art here in Atlanta. We also had the opportunity to travel to New Orleans in the band and Orlando. We actually marched in the Magic Kingdom parade and got to see behind the scenes. Those experiences are in my heart forever. I'm sure if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably not the type of parent who would not let your child go on a field trip and be exposed to a positive and new environment, unless you thought it was unsafe. If you know someone like this, though, please share this episode with them so that they can realize and hopefully recognize that they are holding their children back. And due to this conversation with these two separate people, I wanted to share this throwback episode from earlier last summer. Instead of buying your children all the things you never had, you should teach them all the things you were never taught. Material wears out, but knowledge stays. Bruce Lee. Today we're going to talk about this Bruce Lee quote because after the last week that I've had, it just resonated with me, and I want to share with you why. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Last week, Ethan and I had the opportunity to attend the Unlock the Secrets conference hosted by ClickFunnels. If you're new to the podcast, you may not know it, but Ethan is my husband and business partner. And yes, we are in the ClickFunnels world, and love him or hate him, Russell Brunson is a marketing genius. We initially didn't plan on attending this conference because we just went to one back in March. So we thought, what could they possibly have new to offer just 3 months later? However, after learning that this conference would be all about marketing and entrepreneurship with a huge focus on the youth, we decided not only to attend, but to take our 2 kids. And boy, I am so glad that we did. It was so enlightening and motivating to see kids who have made 6 figures at the age of 14 and $1 million at 16. And no, it is not all about the money, but it is about the mindset, and it is about surrounding yourself with people who have the thought process of nothing can stop me. If I want to get it done, I'm going to get it done. And it doesn't mean that they didn't have hardships along the way, but the fact that all of these people were together and growing and motivating and cheering each other on was just such a beautiful thing. And to see so many kids thinking and coming up with new ways to make the world a better place, creating books, services, products to put into the market at such a young age, it was just thrilling, exciting. It left me excited for the future. It was so exciting to see my kids. I know I'm saying exciting a lot. I need to pull out a thesaurus and come up with a new word, another word. But it was so thrilling to see my kids take an interest and think about ideas for businesses and to mastermind with other young people around the topic of business. Okay, I'm going to refrain from using the word exciting again, but these are the types of opportunities that I just did not have as a child. And it's not that my mother would not have wanted to give them to me, but this was just not how we were thinking at the time. The thought process in my household at the time was to go to school, graduate, go into higher education, and get a good job. And there is nothing wrong with that. It worked for me at the time. It worked out well for me. But the fact that now we can give our kids an opportunity to see something different just left me in awe and left me feeling like this is what parenting is about. And it may not be an entrepreneurship conference. It could be a conference around fashion if they're interested in that, or a conference around writing a screenplay or being an actor if they're interested in that. But giving our kids the opportunities to grow and fulfill their dreams and opportunities is such a blessing to be able to give them that. So on today's episode, I am sharing with you a conversation with my two kids, Imana and Legend. I've always wanted to conduct an interview with them just to get their thoughts about entrepreneurship and the pros and cons of their parents being business owners. So I'm going to share that with you today. Not to mention, our son Legend has been asking to be on the podcast since I started it. So here we go. Hey, Imana, thanks so much for joining me, your mommy, on the podcast today. So I just want to ask you some questions around entrepreneurship. Are you excited?
Yes.
I'm excited to have you here.
Thanks.
So my first question to you is, what does being an entrepreneur mean to you?
It means owning your own business or starting your own invention, making something of your own, creating your own product.
Love it. Okay. Of course, your dad and I have had our business since you were born, so you've never known us not to be entrepreneurs. But I'm curious to know from you, what are some pros and cons do you see of your parents being an entrepreneur?
I think that some of the pros can be, some of them can stay at home and some of them can go to work and they alternate. And a con can be sometimes we have to go there and wait for our parents to finish work, but we also get to work while they're there, so we can earn money while they work.
This is true. That's the benefit. That's really a great benefit that you mentioned of having a business, because you can put your child on payroll and up to a certain amount, I believe it's $12,500, you can write that off as a business expense, which is a great point that you made. Imana, I know you already have your own monetized YouTube channel. What have you learned through that process, through creating your channel?
I've learned that the more consistently you post, the more views and likes you will get, because if you don't post as often, then people will start to fall off of your channel or podcast or anything that you have, whatever your social media is.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. Mommy definitely could be more consistent on her posting of things. Thanks for that. Do you enjoy being monetized on YouTube? I know you've made some money in your bank account.
Yes.
You do?
Yep.
You like making money? And I guess since you do have your own YouTube channel, technically you have a business as a sole proprietor, but would you someday like to own your own business in the future?
Yes. It sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun. Do you think Daddy and I have fun?
Yes.
Most days it's fun. There are definitely challenging times. Can you think of a time that you can remember where we've been challenged and you may remember conversations around that? Do you remember any of those?
During the pandemic, less people were buying stuff because they weren't graduating at school. Everything was online.
Yeah, the pandemic was definitely a difficult time for our business, as well as a lot of businesses. It was definitely a hard time. Thanks for sharing that. Last week, of course, we went to the Unlock the Secrets conference that was sponsored by ClickFunnels. Did you find that conference beneficial to you?
Definitely.
What was your biggest takeaway from that conference?
My biggest takeaway was meeting new people and learning about their businesses to help improve mine.
Good. Well, I'm definitely glad we had the chance to take you all to the conference. I was blown away by how focused they were on kids growing businesses. And what I love about that is truly you all are the future to business. You all will create jobs in the future. You all will change the world in the future. And I absolutely love that. Thank you so much for taking some time to answer some questions around entrepreneurship for me. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
You're so welcome.
This episode is being brought to you by BidKid.School. What are your kids up to this summer? If you find that they like being on their devices like mine do, check out BidKid.School. That's VIDKID.School, where they can learn how to animate, edit, and create their own YouTube videos, and perhaps get monetized and become entrepreneurs themselves. That is www.vidkid.school. Link is in the show notes.
Legend, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast. I know you've been asking to be on here for a couple of years. Are you excited to be on it?
Yes, I am excited.
Well, I'm glad you're here. So I have a couple of questions for you. The first question I have is, what does it mean to be an entrepreneur? Or what does
To own a business?
To own a business? Anything else?
I don't really have any others for it.
Any others for owning a business? Okay. And Legend, I know that Daddy and I have owned our business the entire time you've been here on Earth. What are some pros and cons that you've seen to your parents owning a business?
Ownership, like you take control of stuff, and also being mindful.
Being mindful about what?
The other employees and customers.
Yeah, definitely have to be mindful of customers. Are there any cons that you've seen? Any negative things to owning our own business?
No, I usually don't focus on the negative things.
You don't focus on the negative things? That's really good. That is something we can all learn, to not focus on the negative. I like that a lot. Tell me, would you like to someday own your own business? Would you like to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I would.
You would? Do you have any ideas about what businesses you would like or a business you would like? Not yet?
No.
So Legend, last week, Daddy and I had the opportunity to take you and your sister to Arizona to unlock the secrets. What was your biggest takeaway from being at that conference?
I really don't know. There's a lot of good ahas, but my favorite one would probably be, I'm not interested if you stand with the great. I'm interested if you sit with the broken.
Okay, that was a quote that you heard?
Yes.
At the conference. Nice. What does that quote mean to you?
That I'm not interested if you're always so great, you're standing with the rich people and stuff, but I'm interested if you need help on your life or anything I need.
So you want to help others?
Yes.
Okay. And did you have any other things that you learned at the conference?
Yes, I have post consistently. What's the guy's name that went up on stage that was talking about posting?
Was that Caleb who talked about posting? No? I remember. I don't remember his name, but he was the one with the tennis shoe Instagram page. He had like a lot of followers. I know who you're talking about, but I don't remember his name right now. But post consistently. Anything else you learned?
Let me think. Spend time with your family while you can, because one day they're going to be gone and you need to spend time with them.
Yeah, spending time with your family is very important. That's for sure. I enjoy spending time with you guys a lot, and I'm very happy that I had the opportunity to go to that conference and to share with you just entrepreneurial ideas and thoughts. Did you enjoy masterminding and sitting down with other kids that also have businesses?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
You did? Okay. Do you have any business ideas yet?
No.
Not yet? Well, it's
No.
okay. I didn't have my business idea until I was in my 20s, so you have some time. It's never too late to start, right?
Right.
Okay. Thank you for being on the podcast. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you for letting me be on the podcast.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Imana and Legend, thank you both for being a guest on the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Just so you all know, Imana is 12 and she actually is the owner and operator of VidKid.School. She began animating and posting to YouTube when she was 9. And Legend just recently turned 8. And though he doesn't yet have a business figured out, he is such a creative kid. He is constantly writing books, drawing, sketching, learning to code, and doing all the things that little 8-year-old boys like to do with Legos and Roblox and all the things. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to have this brief conversation with my kiddos. I truly love to get their insights on things. And, you know, I definitely know that there are pros and cons to being an entrepreneur. And for me, the pro is I can take off when I need to spend time with them or to go to their events at school. That is a huge pro for me. The con is sometimes it's very difficult to turn the work off. And that can be a little bit stressful when I know they also need me. So that's the hard part, or that's the con, I think, sometimes for me. But it was just great to have the conversation with them. We talk about business-related things all the time. And of course, they're just not recorded. But I want to give them the opportunity to learn about things that I did not know about. I remember one day Imana asked me what was an asset and what was a liability. And as I'm explaining this to a then, I believe, 10-year-old, I'm thinking to myself, I didn't learn the difference between an asset and a liability until I was in Accounting 101 class in college. So that's how we grow, though. Grow, and that is how we leave a legacy. We leave it by giving our children knowledge, the knowledge that our parents didn't have, the knowledge that we've gained over the years. It is a travesty and honestly a disgrace if we die with all of the knowledge that we've accumulated over the years. So I challenge you to share your knowledge in some way with your family members, with some kids around you, with some kids who may not be a part of your family, with people who may not be a part of your family. We must pass it on to the next generation in order for us to move forward and to do better as a society and as a community. I am definitely not certain if my kids will be business owners or entrepreneurs in the future. They may not be. I can also see them being an engineer or a doctor, a lawyer, an actor. But I want them to know that their opportunities are endless, that they are truly able to be and do anything that they put their mind to. And I think we often hear that phrase, but we don't actually embody it. And I really want to give my kids the opportunity to do just that. One of the things that I realized just in the past few days is I think I've known it for some time, but it just really hit me recently after this trip. Being intentional with what we say, with what we do, plays a part in how we live our lives. I set out with the intention many years ago as a small child. I can remember going to a friend's house when I was growing up, and I grew up in a small town, but it was one particular Black family that had a very nice house with a pool and a tennis court. And I remember thinking to myself, one day I'm going to have a pool in my backyard. One day I'm going to have a tennis court. I don't have the tennis court, but I do have a home with a pool. I set the intention of having kids that can swim like fish, and mine can. To not struggle financially, to do work that I didn't dread, to be able to travel with my kids, which is way more important to me than having red bottom shoes or Louis Vuitton bags. Way more important than material things, because as Bruce Lee says, those things go away. But knowledge gets passed on.
knowledge gets shared. And as my friend Jack Perez says, this knowledge creates a ripple that then impacts someone else's knowledge into the future. Just think about that ripple that gets carried further and further out from you. It's a beautiful thing. And that is legacy, people. That is legacy. Okay, I am done for the day. I just wanted to share with you all. I'm just on cloud 9 right now. Thank you so much for listening today. I just wanted to share this past week with you guys. It has left me just over the moon. I'm excited for our future. I said excited again. Darn it. I'm excited for our kids' futures as well. All of our kids. If you're listening to this podcast, I know that you care about knowledge and I know that you believe in passing it on. So I am excited for your kids if you have them as well. Your nieces, your nephews, everybody. Follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I even have a YouTube channel now, all under Become Your Own Boss podcast. Please go out to Apple, rate, leave a review, and subscribe to the podcast. Share it with a friend. Thanks again for listening. Now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.